The morning sun cast long shadows across the polished floor of Sterling Aviation's showroom as Marcus Webb stepped through the glass doors. At 62 years old, Marcus moved with the unhurried confidence of a man who had spent decades working the red clay soil of Georgia. His denim overalls were clean but worn, his chambray shirt faded from countless washings, and his wide-brimmed hat showed the honest creases of a life spent outdoors. The showroom gleamed with luxury. Private jets sat like gleaming sculptures under carefully arranged lighting. Everything smelled of leather and money. Behind the main desk, Richard Preston noticed Marcus immediately. At 58, Richard had worked in luxury sales for 30 years. He prided himself on reading people within seconds. His tailored navy suit probably cost more than most people made in a month, and his silk tie was knotted with precision that spoke of morning routines perfected over decades. Richard's smile didn't quite reach his eyes as Marcus approached. "Can I help you find something?" Richard asked, his tone suggesting he already knew the answer would be no. Marcus removed his hat, revealing silver hair cropped close to his head. "I'm looking to purchase an aircraft," he said simply, his voice carrying the slow, measured cadence of the rural South. Richard's smile widened, but something cold flickered behind it. "An aircraft," he repeated, letting the words hang in the air. "Sir, these jets start at $12 million. Perhaps you're looking for the commercial terminal. It's about 2 miles that way." The 3 saleswomen behind Richard exchanged glances. Sarah, Jennifer, and Maya had all witnessed Richard's particular brand of judgment before, but something about this moment felt different. Marcus didn't flinch. He'd faced harsher dismissals in his life. "I understand the prices," he said quietly. "I'd still like to see what you have available." Richard leaned back against the desk, crossing his arms. "With all due respect, this isn't a showroom for window shoppers. These are serious machines for serious buyers. I'm sure you understand." "I am a serious buyer," Marcus replied, his voice still calm, still steady. "Really?" Richard's eyebrow arched. "And what exactly do you do, Mr. Webb?" "Marcus Webb. I'm a farmer." The word hung in the air like a punchline. Richard actually laughed, a short bark of amusement that echoed through the showroom. "A farmer. Of course. Sir, I appreciate your interest, but I think we're wasting each other's time here." Sarah stepped forward from behind the desk. She was 53, had raised 3 kids on her sales commissions, and had learned long ago that assumptions were dangerous in this business. "Mr. Preston, perhaps we could at least show Mr. Webb." "Sarah, I've got this," Richard cut her off, not even looking her way. His attention remained fixed on Marcus with the kind of condescending patience usually reserved for children. "Mr. Webb, farming is honest work. Respectable work. But it doesn't typically generate the kind of capital needed for private aviation. Now, I don't mean to be rude, but I have actual clients coming in this afternoon." Marcus stood there for a long moment, studying Richard's face. He'd seen that expression before, that certainty that came from judging a book by its cover. It had been directed at him in banks, in country clubs where he'd been invited as a guest, in restaurants where hostesses assumed he'd wandered in by mistake. "I see," Marcus said finally. He placed his hat back on his head with deliberate care. "Well, I appreciate your time, Mr. Preston." As Marcus turned toward the door, Sarah made a decision. She'd been working in sales long enough to trust her instincts, and something about Marcus Webb's quiet dignity struck her as genuine. "Mr. Webb," she called out, stepping around the desk. "Wait just a moment, please." Richard shot her a warning look, but Sarah ignored it. She'd been ignoring Richard's attitude for years. "I have a few minutes before my next appointment," Sarah said, walking toward Marcus. "I'd be happy to show you our current inventory." Marcus turned back, a flicker of surprise crossing his weathered face. "I'd appreciate that, ma'am. It's Sarah. Sarah Mitchell." She extended her hand, and Marcus shook it with a firm grip. Richard made a sound of disgust. "Sarah, you're wasting your time. And the company's." "Then it's my time to waste," Sarah replied, not looking back at him. "Mr. Webb, please, come with me." As they walked toward the first aircraft, Marcus spoke quietly. "You don't have to do this, Ms. Mitchell. I know how it looks." Sarah smiled, a genuine warmth in her expression. "My daddy wore overalls every day of his life," she said. "Worked construction for 40 years. He taught me that a man's worth isn't in his clothes. It's in his character." They stopped beside a sleek Gulfstream, its white exterior gleaming under the showroom lights. "This is our G280, Sarah began, launching into the specifications with practiced ease. Range of 3,600 nautical miles, cruising speed of Mach 0.8. It seats up to 10 passengers in full comfort." Marcus listened intently, asking questions that surprised Sarah with their specificity. He wanted to know about fuel efficiency, maintenance requirements, landing capabilities on shorter runways. These weren't the questions of someone making idle conversation. Behind them, Richard watched with barely concealed irritation. Jennifer and Maya had stopped pretending to work and were observing the interaction with interest. "The avionics package," Marcus was asking, "does that include the full weather radar system?" "It does," Sarah confirmed, warming to his genuine interest. "Along with synthetic vision technology and enhanced navigation systems. It's one of the most advanced packages available." They moved to the next aircraft, a larger Bombardier model. Sarah explained the extended range, the luxury appointments, the operational costs. Marcus took it all in, occasionally nodding, asking follow-up questions that demonstrated a surprising understanding of aviation. After 20 minutes, Richard's impatience got the better of him. He strode over, his jaw tight. "Sarah, your 2 o'clock is here," he lied smoothly. "I'm sure Mr. Webb understands you have actual business to attend to." Sarah checked her watch. "Richard, my 2 o'clock isn't until now, Sarah." Richard's voice had an edge to it. Marcus intervened gently. "It's all right, Ms. Mitchell. You've been very kind. Thank you for your time." "Mr. Webb, I apologize," Sarah began, but Marcus raised a hand. "No need," he said. "I understand how busy you must be." Richard practically pushed between them. "Yes, well, as I said, we cater to a specific clientele here. I'm sure you understand." "I do," Marcus replied. "I understand perfectly." He headed toward the exit, his boots quiet on the polished floor. Richard returned to his desk, shaking his head. "Honestly, Sarah, you need to learn to qualify your prospects better. That man probably doesn't have $1,200, much less $12 million. Sarah bit back her response, but Maya, the youngest of the sales team at 47, spoke up. "He seemed pretty knowledgeable, actually." "Anyone can learn to talk a good game," Richard scoffed. "It's called the internet. Doesn't mean they can back it up with a bank account." The door chimed as Marcus left, and Richard settled back into his chair, already forgetting about the encounter. But the story wasn't over. 3 hours later, Richard was showing a legitimate client around when his phone rang. It was his manager, calling from the corporate office. "Richard, we just received a rather unusual call," his manager said, his tone difficult to read. "From Marcus Webb. Does that name sound familiar?" Richard's stomach dropped slightly. Yes. He came in this morning. Farmer in overalls, clearly not qualified." "Not qualified," his manager interrupted. "Richard, do you know who Marcus Webb is?" "A farmer, like I said. Marcus Webb owns Webb Agricultural Holdings. 12,000 acres across 3 states. His company did $400 million in revenue last year. He also owns a controlling interest in 3 organic food processing plants and has partnerships with every major grocery chain on the East Coast." The words hit Richard like physical blows. The showroom seemed to tilt slightly. "That can't be," he was wearing overalls. "He's also been featured in Forbes, Fortune, and the Wall Street Journal," his manager continued, his voice growing colder. "He's known for his down-to-earth style and his commitment to staying connected to the farming life that built his empire. And you, apparently, laughed at him and refused him service." Richard felt the blood drain from his face. Across the showroom, Sarah had stopped working, her attention now fully on Richard's phone call. "I didn't refuse him exactly," Richard stammered. I was trying to be efficient." "He called to make a purchase, Richard. He wanted to buy 2 aircraft. He specifically requested that Sarah Mitchell handle the sale because she treated him with respect. He also requested that you not be involved and that the commissions go entirely to her." Sarah's eyes widened. Richard gripped the phone tighter. 2 aircraft. That's a $25 million sale. Was a $25 million sale. Mr. Webb has decided to take his business to Continental Aviation instead. He wanted me to know exactly why we lost his business. He was very specific about your behavior. The phone call ended shortly after, with Richard's manager informing him that they would be having a serious discussion about his future with the company. Richard sat at his desk, staring at nothing, as the magnitude of his mistake settled over him like a heavy blanket. Sarah approached slowly. "Richard, what just happened?" He looked up at her, his earlier confidence completely gone. "That farmer I turned away. He's worth several $100 million. He was going to buy 2 jets. Through you." "Was?" Sarah asked softly. "He took his business elsewhere. Because of how I treated him." The showroom was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. "I need to call him," Richard said suddenly, reaching for his phone. "I need to apologize, to explain." "Explain what?" Maya asked, her voice sharper than usual. "That you judged a man by his clothes. That you assumed someone in overalls couldn't possibly have money. What exactly are you going to explain, Richard?" Richard had no answer. Sarah sat down slowly. "He wanted me to handle the sale," she said quietly, still processing. "He remembered my name. Because you treated him like a human being," Jennifer added. "You didn't assume. You didn't judge." The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur. Richard tried calling Marcus Webb's office 3 times. Each time, his assistant politely informed him that Mr. Webb was unavailable and had no interest in returning his call. Sarah, however, received a personal call from Marcus himself. "Ms. Mitchell," his warm voice came through the line, "I wanted to thank you again for your kindness today. It was a rare thing, and I won't forget it." "Mr. Webb, I'm so sorry for how you were treated," Sarah said. "If there's anything I can do." "You did what mattered," Marcus replied. "You saw a person, not a costume. That's more valuable than you know. I've asked that a contribution be made to the charity of your choice in your name. Consider it a thank you." After they hung up, Sarah sat for a long moment, thinking about her father in his work overalls, about all the times people had underestimated him too. Richard left early that day, his confidence shattered. The sale he'd lost would haunt him, but more than that, the lesson would linger. In the end, it wasn't about the jets or the money. It was about a simple truth that Marcus Webb had learned long ago: character shows itself in how we treat people who can't benefit us, who don't fit our expectations, who show up in overalls instead of suits. And sometimes, the richest person in the room is the one we least expect.